I'm Peter, I do lots, and today I'm going to tell you guys a story.
Obviously, you guys know what this story is going to be about. You saw the thumbnail, you saw the title. This is the story of how I almost died. So, 1 year back, I want to say 2017, 2018, I went to visit my grandparents on their farm. And on their farm, they've got lots of crazy things. They got four-wheelers, horses, dangerous farming equipment, lots of rusty metal, you know, just the usual farm stuff. But the most dangerous thing there was probably the people my age. I love my family very much, but we can tend to be a bit rough sometimes. This happened around the end of June, early July, and the way this started was with my dad buying these big inflatable sumo things. You wrap them around your body and you bump into each other. Basically, two of my cousins were bouncing around them and they started rolling towards the gravel, which would have popped them. So I went and tried grabbing them to stop them from rolling, and one of my cousins flailed his hand around and his thumb went right into my eye. Now, his thumb, it had a really sharp nail, like hadn't been clipped in ages, and it scratched my cornea really bad and I couldn't see out of my eye. A few hours later, after the burning in my eye had stopped, I still couldn't really see out of it. It was really blurry. We went and we had a picnic down at this river that was on their property. And the area where we had this picnic was fenced off so that the cows that they had couldn't get in and mess with the field, because this was like the nice field. They didn't want cow poop all over it. So in this area, we were able to ride the horses and stuff, and the four-wheelers, all that, and we were able to have a good time. And those come into play in just a bit. The next thing that happened was my cousins wanted to play baseball, and I'm not super coordinated, but I agreed to play with them, and we were just tossing the ball back and forth, and with my junk eye being the way it was, people would check up on me, and there's this particular instance where my uncle, he asked if I was okay, so I turned to say, yeah, I'm okay. And when I turned back, the ball flew and it hit me right in the face. Got knocked unconscious. I suffered a massive welt and a concussion from this baseball. I'll put some pictures up. It was just terrible. Like, I had a split-in headache for the rest of the day. I was, like, kind of dazed, didn't really understand what was going on the whole time. And my cousins obviously felt really bad. Everyone's going to feel bad for hurting someone unless you're crazy. That's just how it is. And to try to make it up for me, one of my cousins said that he would take me out on a horseback ride, meaning that I'd sit up in the saddle and he would guide the horse by the reins. The next thing that happened was obviously the horse ride. And on this horse ride that he gave me, I was on the back of the horse, and he saw this pretty little flower in the middle of the field. Don't remember what flower it was, doesn't really matter, but he let go of the reins to pick it, assuming that the horse would stand still. But this horse in particular that I was riding was kind of crazy, and so the second he dropped the rope, it booked it, and it has a partner horse that it likes to be around, and it was booking it for that other horse. And I was doing everything I could to hold on, but I just couldn't very well. I was basically unconscious, and I didn't end up falling off the horse until, the saddle flipped. If you know anything about horses, you'll know that they don't really like getting saddles put on them. It's kind of uncomfortable for most of them, and so they like to really puff up their chest when you're putting the saddle on, and then when you're done tightening it, they'll like kind of let out the air, and it'll make the saddle more loose for them. And you're supposed to really tighten it after that. But my cousin, we were pretty young, he didn't do that. And yeah, so it flipped while it was booking it. And I ended up on its stomach, and then I fell off the horse, and the horse stepped on me. And I was in a lot of pain, and I got sat down in a chair for a bit. And my cousins ended up feeling bad again. I was fine. And to make it up to me, my other cousin decided, you know what? I'm going to take you out on a four-wheeler ride. And so he did. I sat on the back of the four-wheeler, which is something you're not supposed to do. You're never supposed to do that, especially when you can barely be conscious. And I ended up falling off that too. It was not fun. He ended up turning around after realizing that I was knocked off and ended up speeding back towards me and hitting me with the four-wheeler too. At that point, I was kind of done, and my dad took me back home, which is a few hours away, the next day. And yeah, that's the end of the story. Thanks for watching. Bye. If you liked the video, consider liking and subscribing as well. I would really appreciate it. I did put a good bit of time into getting pictures for this story, as well as just making the little figurine that you see in the background. If you remember from the shorts, it's the little Among Us dude that I 3D printed. So, I'll see you next time.